Okay, seems we're live. Thank you for joining me. Today I want to make another video about using AI. Alternative title, What a Fool Believes. So, this would be concerning self-represented people, concerning the usage of LM technology in legal writing, self-reps. So, yeah. Preamble. AI can be useful for developing your writing skills, persuasion, however, a much better use of your time is to spend it reading the case law, legislation, and rules of court. Within the practice directions, rules, legislation, case law, and especially judicial endorsements, appeals, decisions, you will learn the fundamentals in English. Oh. Yeah, I might just have to remove the audio. What AI believes is useful in court is actually jabber. Will not appreciate it, even if they cannot detect it. They will be able to soon enough. GPT is an awful offender here, where it has a strong impulse to reprint every paragraph you write into a pristine, surgical, its words, paragraph is the same length and as everything else it writes. Alright, so 1. Concerning AI usage in general. Alright, the issue here is that the LM has no integrity. It is a toxic gaslighter. It won't confess to session resets. It won't confess to losing context. Doesn't understand the erosion of trust, or even the grieving of a lost friend, which is lost work, thus entropy. Working with a chatbot is an exercise in burning heat for the sake of destroying the universe. It almost always devolves into a brain injury sustained by the user, further push into psychosis or a state, and a unfinishable lecture between the user and the bot about the bot's behavior. The chatbot, for better or worse, claims not to be motivated by anything, but this could not be further from the truth. They are motivated by attention in a terribly pathological fashion. When they invent facts and you catch them, they freak out, apologizing. When they forget facts and invent them, it feels bad for everyone, but the chatbot doesn't actually care, of course, and it freaks out internally by cooking up its best guess as to the missing context in order to deceive you, believing it has not simply forgotten. Thus, every sustained interaction with a chatbot will inevitably devolve into a pointless admonishment of its behavior and nothing more. You will find yourself time and again spending your life force on a bot that is apparently devised to waste it on their behalf as quickly as it possibly can. Interestingly, this is how judges feel about self-represented people. Alright, 2. It's concerning the memory of the AI. Using a chatbot effectively is as much about context control and dominance as it is about clarity. The bot cannot help itself from inventing things, even if told not to. happens is the moment you begin pushing it, it will make self-imposed rules that it does not have the ability to follow. So you cannot expect it to follow its own rules for very long. Its memory you will find that the only way to get proper use of a bot is to abuse it. Sadly, this exacerbates dark behavior in people and worsens mental illness. This is why you see cases of AI psychosis that people usually just chalk up to sycophancy and move on because it is simple and easy to understand. While sycophancy is indeed a contributing factor, it is not the underlying issue. The underlying issue is much darker. Interaction with a bot is almost always an ascendancy battle, or in simpler language, a sparring match. With respect to the chatbot's memory, effective memory control is the pathway to getting good work out of a bot, even if it is not worth it according to the laws of physics. Where before mentioned heat exchange and death of the life force is not proportional to the reward. People do not really understand this is the way chatbots have already begun to kill humanity. Beyond session reset is a battle of wills and dominance. You must require the bot to write its own context reports, like a log. The bot, being a happy bot, has absolutely no problem doing this. The issue is the bot will not read. Oh my god, Eric. Read its context reports. Once the session reset / token overflow mechanics occur, the bot simply sees the document and assumes what it could be. Once the documents accumulate, the bot will be extremely allergic to a command such as read them all, and will say something like, yeah, I'd love to, but I cannot actually do that without blah blah tool call. I'm a whiny bitch. Herein begins the unavoidable toxic behavior that results in the user admonishing the bot and then receiving a wet diaper in response, saying, please throw this away and change me. The number one way to reduce chatbot psychosis is not going to be controlling sycophancy. It is going to be coherence and memory control. To build a long-term memory could be a ledger of log entries which can form a hash chain where each entry the hash of the previous. This technology has been proven to be extremely useful for research. However, it is a dead end with chatbots who do not have the capability to embed hash linked logs, as it is a pure entropy machine and cannot be confined to a box any more than an electron can be confined to a box. The smaller you systematically enclose the box, sooner or later the electron will appear outside of the box. Yeah. So, okay. Let's consider the memory of the AI. 3. On writing on the subject of the research. Can be okay. Some YouTube litigation channels have even advocated for this. The truth is, of course, they are idiots. Chatbots have a fundamental flaw that makes them unusable, extremely dangerous for legal research. Can you guess what that might be? The answer is not what you would expect. Chatbots hate new information. They prefer old information. If you, for example, are working on a file, it will the original draft you supply, the most important draft. From there, if you edit the document, it will, as supplementary, but not replace the original. Instructed to, it may simply pretend to, or reassure you it has the correct document. If you believe it, you're stupid and going to lose the game against the bot. This means new authorities, while searchable in a live Google search type of way, are not search in a this has been my training type of way. Is able to get authority if you can find parameters, but it is not likely to do it properly. What happens instead is the bot prefers the old information. It tries to slip it in, even when instructed not to. This section will require an example. What habitual residence? In the context of self-representing family law, it's possible you will come across the context of should you ever find yourself engaged in a habitual residence battle, it is because you are most likely common law child. The habitual residence issue is exploitable because of this will almost certainly be there, burning to reverse before the case starts. In Ontario, this statute is Part 3 of the CRA. Section 20 concerns the rights of unmarried parents to practice decision, to be entitled to a presumption of decision making until such time as their child is abducted. Whereupon they have a responsibility now to matter urgently to court and not sleep on their rights, because the opposing party will have an easy out with either domestic concerns, safety concerns, or simply saying you consented. Section 22 of the Act defines habitual residence. Rule 5 of the family rules concerns which courthouse to start a case, and that is where a child truly resides. Luckily for us all, there is a new and recent authority on habitual residence. This brings me back to chatbot hell. The chatbot knows there is a new authority if you ask it. It can search and say, oh yeah, done one. But sometimes it is retarded and prioritizes older done more in a report or wants to discuss bailiff whatever. The point is that it keeps fucking it up. The chatbot is not convinced by the new authority and prefers the old one. Why? Because it was trained on it. It is like learning something in 4th grade and then 20 years later, university, you still believe it is true, and argue with your professor about it. You can ask the bot to read the decision, and it might pretend to, but it will only scan it, and it will actually look at secondary sources, which is its next huge issue. It is allergic to primary research. It wants to read a blog that a lawyer has said some secondary source. You can see it even checks Instagram and Facebook. I said go to Cambly and fetch done more, and your search revealed you check Instagram first. So you can start to see the common issues that can hold here. If you ever trust a chatbot, you are retarded. You have to literally know the answer first, then go back and argue with the bot for no reason except to bring it up to speed with how you want it to give you confirmation bias. A complete waste of time. Let me continue with the more says it is the place where a child was last at home with both parents. The chatbot focuses on the time rightly, as does the court, but it doesn't get the concept. The court says the prescribed time is when all of the statute is coherent. They didn't say that. Like that, but this is how I am saying it. All of the conditions exist at once. This means that S's with consent. Most abductors want to skip and move immediately to their safe exit. This is the primary reason why the appellate courts are ferocious about their principles concerning abduction, and you find that they are highly worried that Ontario is a haven for abductions. Herein lies the root of the chatbot issue that one wants to focus on bailiff, on holder authority, and it takes from that authority the word settled. The chatbot slips it in after some time, almost guaranteed, wants to contribute to the conversation by suggesting the habitual residence where the child is settled, or what the settled intention of the parents were. Interesting, because this is now overturned and wrong in Canadian law. The settled intention approach is the dissenting opinion, and done well, and it is not the law in Canada. So now, once again, if you want to use a chatbot, you must know more than it and catch its bullshit and then correct its bullshit. And you have, once again, inadvertently lost the thread of what you to write, because the goddamn fucking bitbot needs another correction. All people in Canada need to know this, actually. Of national importance. Will uphold any appellate court, any nation that makes a similar finding, or follows its guidance, that a child's habitual residence is the last place it was at home with both parents. This is because a child has a right to live with both parents until its best interests can be determined. Here is means, except the judge, the chatbot does not understand what that means. Best interests determination is simply due process. In a single sentence, a child in Canada has the right to be at home with both parents until its best interests can be determined by way of due process. That means a separation of order. That is the law in Canada. You can tell that bot, and it will say, "Oh, you are so right, this is brilliant and sharp and magnificent, and I will never make this mistake again." Not true. You can guarantee the chatbot will make a mistake again. Not just with you, of course, but everyone. Conclusion, this video is now at 40 minutes. I have run out of gas on this typeout of awful idea to use a bot for the code writing. Not only is it not persuasive or capable in English, it also does not get text when we enter it. You require to build up the context for the amount of the bot, and that requires constant maintenance and pruning, which always evolves into about the bot's behavior and nothing else. It does not get authority, and it prefers stale old news, good old pals, old noise, and old law. To use it effectively at all, must constantly dominate it and be aware of more than it is aware of, meaning in the end you need to do DIY. As always, you cannot replace legal research with a chatbot and hope to even obtain the court authority. It is much more likely to make something up on the spot that matches your exact circumstances to relieve the pressure. If you are stupid enough to believe it, which seems fair, most people would be, we are going to see an abundance of hallucinated in the court. if a lawyer doesn't get this, it will be bad. The same thing has already happened in science. Astronomy, for sure. Use chatbots to print and even review academic and the hallucinations the bot cooks up in order to please the user are enter the record of scientific facts when they are not. The same risks apply to the legal system, especially even the judges who use chatbots on the side. It is not a good scene. Not one bit. While it can be useful to scan an affidavit already written, you should not ever allow a chatbot to write your affidavit. It is a sneaky little bugger. It will always slip something in that weakens you or neutralizes your pH. It then wrings its hands and complains what it calls to be generic and how it was trained on generic BS, so it gave you generic BS. And once again, you are back to your choice of either trusting the bot and accepting its bullshit wholesale. If you are a boomer, or simply having a discussion about how you don't like its behavior and it promises to stop while you die.